In this video, we're going to look at analyzing poll results. An exit pollster sampled n equals 664 people as they left the voting place and found that 49.2% of the voters sampled were in favor of candidate A, and 50.8% of the voters sampled were in favor of candidate B. Answer the questions below, and we're going to round any percents to one decimal place as needed. So first we're going to find the margin of error. So the margin of error is 1 over the square root of the sample size times 100% to write it as a percent. So our sample size given is 664. So let's put that in the calculator. We're going to take 664, take the square root, reciprocate it, and multiply by 100. And to one decimal place, we'd round up to 3.9%. Now in part B, it says we are 95% confident that the true value of the percent of candidate A's votes lies between. So we want to find the bounds of the confidence interval. Okay, so we're going to put between here and here. Let's make a spot for it, and we're going to show our work here to the left in purple. Okay, so we know that candidate A's proportion of votes or percentage is 49.2%. The lower bound of the confidence interval will be 49.2% minus the margin of error, and the upper bound will be 49.2% plus the margin of error. So now let's find those two values. So 49.2 minus 3.9. So our lower bound is 45.3%. And our upper bound is 49.2 plus 4.3, which is 53.5%. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing for candidate B, which is 50.8. Okay. Let's make spots for the bounds of the confidence interval, and let's do these computations in red. So we have that P hat for candidate B is 50.8. We have the same margin of error because it was the same sample size. So we're going to subtract and add 3.9% to 50.8 to get the bounds of the confidence interval. So 50.8 minus 3.9 equals 46.9. And 50.8 plus 3.9 is 54.7%. So we're 95% confident that the true value of the percent of candidate B's votes lies between 46.9 and 54.7. Now the next question asks us, do the 95% confidence intervals for candidate A and candidate B overlap? And the answer is yes. And the quick way to take a look at this is to take the larger value of so 49.2% is smaller, but its upper bound is 53.5. Let's draw a little picture just for fun. Okay, so candidate A goes up to 53.5, and its lower is 45.3. And candidate B is 46.9, which is about here-ish. And the upper value is 54.7. Okay. So notice you can tell from the upper value of the smaller percentage and the lower value of the bigger percentage that they're going to overlap. Okay, so you're basically looking at these two. Okay, and since they overlap, so we're going to say yes, they overlap. That means that we can't be statistically confident that they're not the same value. Okay, so the idea here is yes, according to the exit poll, candidate A is ahead. Okay, but these two values are too close together based on the margin of error of 4% to say that they're actually different and one of them is bigger than the other. Okay, so since the confidence intervals overlap, we would, based on this answer, choose the interpretation that there is not enough statistical evidence to determine which candidate is in the lead. Okay, if they didn't overlap, just to give you a picture of that, we'd have maybe one interval here and one interval there. Say this was A and B. And then we'd be confident that candidate B is in fact in the lead. There would be statistical evidence of that. Okay, but in this case, it's too close to call, and we'll have to wait for the results to come in.